As a follow-up from my last video, I am going to replace the coil, that's that device there, and we're going to replace the backing plates, the rotor, and put a new distributor cap on, and hopefully this thing will run smooth as butter. The coil, in this case for my M103 engine, is held on here and here by 10mm bolts, 2 of them. Be careful always with this here, and also on the posts you don't want to lose the washers. There are washers sitting underneath the connectors, the eyelet connectors that will bolt onto the top here, and there are washers on here. Don't lose them, they're small and they will disappear forever. Remember to disconnect the battery, get yourself a little container in a secure spot to put your washers and bolts so you don't lose them. I'm going to start by removing the coil. You'll need a 10 and a 6mm for that, and then the 10mm for the big bolts that secure the coil to the car. And I'll start by pulling the high tension lead off. There we are. Put that to the side. There's no point in filming this, it's pretty simple. Remove the bolts off the posts, take the eyelets off, look after your washers, remove the 2 big 10mm on the side there, and swap it over. The book suggests to remove the entire air cleaner and here to give yourself access. I'm not sure we need to do that, but removing the airflow sensor is probably not a bad idea. Just get that out of the way, and you've got pretty good access there. I just want to take a minute to appreciate ratcheting spanners. Love these things. I have a link in my description if it's something you want. Go check it out. It's on Amazon. Just life is so much easier. And on the bench, the old coil, I just gave it a wipe over with a rag. Visually it looks okay. It's a Zundespool, made in Germany clearly. And this one here is, the new one is a Bosch Zundespool. There you go. Old, or the one that I removed. And the new incoming Bosch, made in Slovenia. There we are. Hopefully this solves our problem. And there we are. New coil installed. No washers were lost in the making of this video. Looking pretty. So next I'll put the high tension lead back on. I'll put the airflow sensor back in, and that takes care of this section. There is a little plastic cover that goes over the whole thing. I'll put that on towards the end. And next we'll move on to the rotor and distributor. I'm just using a 3mm hex or Allen key head in a socket. Should make life easier. Now you don't have to take the bolts all the way out, just until they release from the other side. There we go. This is the old one. Looks in pretty okay condition, except this is not the best, I don't think. Hopefully I'm on the path to solving my 80 km/h on the freeway shutdown problem. So putting them on the bench side by side, that's the new one. This is the old one. It's pretty messed up inside compared to the other. The outside looks fine, but well, I shall see where the issues lay. Once you remove this 6mm hex bolt from inside the drive dog, which you need to remove to get the back plate off, you will have to remove the drive dog. Now my book says to do it by hand, except it won't come out by hand because I've watched videos and you need a puller of some sort. So I found these just happen to be the right thread. I don't know what they are, like almost like a needle valve of some sort. I had to put them in backwards because there's a screw head on the other side of that, but it's only partially threaded, so I'm using multi-grips just to gently give a quarter turn at a time and just work my way and it's slowly coming out. It's pulling the drive dog out, so I'll keep working on that until it pulls itself off. Okay, I finally got this off. This is the older one. I think it's been there for the entire life of the car, since 1987. There's the new one. This looks pretty horrible. Now, to get this off, that sits in front of it. That's the drive dog, and then your thing sits like that. So you take your 3 screws out, you're left with this. This is an interference fit. The book says just take it out by hand, but it does not come out by hand. It is keyed. You can see the key there. You can buy pullers for this to pull it out. I didn't have that, so I attached just that to the front using the screws that hold this on. I put a big screwdriver through it. The screwdriver was braced against timber at the bottom, so nothing was touching the engine itself, and then I used a hammer just to gently keep tapping against that until the screwdriver levered it out. I also put a bit of WD-40 on there just to penetrate in there, and it eventually came out. It took me about an hour. It wasn't easy. Then I used some Scotch-Brite just to clean up this face. You can see that. Now hopefully I'll be able to get it back in. I might put it in the freezer to contract the metal and then slide it back on. You can see the key here, and you can also see the key inside the crankshaft when you attach it. Let's see how we go. Hopefully we'll be okay. I just pushed the drive dog back in, but I had it in the freezer first for about an hour, so it would shrink, and it slipped in just nicely. Perfect, and it's keyed properly. Now we place the nut back in through the center. Make sure you got the washer on it. And this will be torqued up to 21 Newton meters. Okay, that's in there. Oops. There we go. Cool. Done. Alright, freezing this before putting it back in made that slide in so nice. Getting it out was a real pain. But we have a new backing cap. That's in, that's keyed, that's bolted 21 Newton meters, so that is sorted. Next, we will assemble the cap, put all that back together and go from there. The rotor cap is held on by 3 of these 5mm internal hex bolts, Allen keys, 5mm. You want one of these, or one of these is often easier because it goes on your socket. And for this bolt here, which is on the underside of the whole thing, it's very hard to get to. I use one of these on top of that to give me the leverage and the angle I needed, and it worked fine. Okay, to replace the distributor cap, you'll find it like that. You need to pull all the terminals off, and you get a screwdriver and just very gently wiggle it around. No force, just enough to bend the plastic a little bit, just a touch. Keep doing that for a while, and eventually you'll be able to pop that out the bottom like that. There we are, like that. This is my old one. It's not original, it's a Beru part. I don't know what the quality of those is like, but the car wasn't working, so maybe that's part of it. Throw that away. This I'm going to clean up with some 303 protectant. It's, don't lose that, just to treat the plastic and then put it back in the car. We're not going to get far without adding that to the front of the drive dog. So you seat these screws in before you mount it, because they fix themselves ready to line up with their holes. That only goes on one way, so everything should be pretty ready to go. Let's try this one. Ha! Love these things. Here I am trying to get to the lower of the 3 bolts. It is quite awkward. What you need to do is rotate the fan around until you find the gap between the blades that is the largest. There is a gap between those blades that is larger than the others. You'll need that access point. And with a bit of fiddling, you will eventually get it. Once you have those 3 bolts done, reattach the plug leads as per the diagram you can see in that photo. That image, the little sticker on the side of the cap, shows you where they go, but also which leads pass over the top or under the other leads. If you don't have that sticker, you can go back in this video to where I gave a close-up of the one I have there. Now, after you've got that sorted out, put the protective cap back on, make sure nothing is interfering with the fan and you are clear in all respects. Remove all your tools. Make sure the engine bay has got nothing left in there that could interfere with the engine when you test it. Reattach the battery. Put back any other protective covers and caps on the coil, for instance, and make sure the engine bay is basically ready to drive. And then start the engine, and if you have done everything correctly, hopefully, you'll be able to drive on.